So Eric, towards that end, I mean, this really talks about, and you guys will all have opinions on this I want to collect, but Eric, we'll start with you, which is the type of content that matters. And one of the things that the place of the TV business that seems most insulated right now is the live event type television. Clearly sports is just crushing it, but it's not only sports. It can be event shows. And then there's what become the hits, become almost live event type necessary hits where you want to watch it when everyone's watching it or have to not, miss the end, miss the score. Is that something you're seeing a lot of the media companies you work with try to focus more on? And is that a key trend? You see data that supports the strength of that side of the TV business?
Yeah, you see the likes of NBC creating these live events around Peter Pan and all these things because, yes, it's something that is going to be talked about. We sort of, in the days of live TV, before the days of time shifting, there was this shared experience of everybody got to see something and then the next day come in and talk about it. And largely that's dissipated in a lot of ways with anything other than event programming and live events. One of the things that's propped it up actually is social, right? So even some of the entertainment programs that otherwise could be DVR'd and watched later or watched streaming in some other way become event shows like a Game of Thrones. You don't want to miss that. Something amazing is going to happen and there are going to be spoilers everywhere. Or I want to participate in the ongoing conversation that's happening on Twitter or on Facebook or what have you. So, and we see that. We see that in the data when the Game of Thrones is on live, there's a tremendous amount of Twitter activity around it, a little bit before and a little bit after and a lot of it during the show. So that if you can generate that kind of excitement around an entertainment program, you can create an event that is almost like a live event, but it isn't the same, and it's certainly not the Super Bowl, right? So, and it's not getting back to the numbers that people were familiar with even 5 or 10 years ago in terms of audience sizes on TV.
David, do you try to program to make that event moment happen? I mean, it's a high risk, high reward game, or do you have to accept that's not happening?
No, I totally agree. I think interestingly, like ratings on events have been going up over time. Not in every case, but the Oscars, they'll set new records. The Emmys will set new records. In our case, our live events are big storms.
Yeah.
No, really. I mean, like the Weather Channel. So it's sports, things like the Walking Dead finale. And breaking news, not analysis, but breaking news. And storms are a form of breaking news. And I think as the world, as the world fragments more, these live events sort of have more of a premium to them. They're like the last thing that kind of bring us all together. And what I like, one of the things I like about the Weather Channel is a storm it's a story that the audience actually experiences and participates in. And like this past February when we had all the blizzards in the Northeast, it was our best month in 4 years, bigger than Hurricane Sandy.
So we should blame you when the weather gets bad.
I never root for a storm.
Until it's there.
But I do. All the time. It was that. And we've had
edit that part.
We've had 2 hurricanes like heading towards the U.S. and then zipping out to sea this year. It's like being at ESPN and like, will the Super Bowl happen or not? You don't know. But I agree all that. I think that is one area where television is going to continue to reign supreme. Everything else is on demand.
Yep. Yeah. So Lee, part of this then becomes what in an ad model supported business. Part of what the question becomes is how do we continue to change or help invent the ad model? You guys have made news that with the new station that you guys are launching with Viceland, that you're going to be pretty out front in trying non-traditional TV ads. Do you have a sense of what that's going to look like yet, or do what's the impetus maybe, and maybe you don't know the answer what that's going to look like yet, but what are you guys dealing with that is something you're considering?
So we're very excited about launching Viceland. I think there's an opportunity for us in creating a new network to experiment with the ad model. I can't speak to any details yet as to
because it's a safe space.
We won't tell anybody.
You can't or you won't. Give us a
what I will say to tie that monetization and ad-supported question back to the live event piece is, clearly our viewers want to time shift and device shift. And so long as we offer them a great experience and allow our advertisers to come along for the ride, we're in great shape. So to the extent that we have adequate measurement, to the extent that we have an ecosystem that supports advertising in a time-shifted and device-shifted environment, we're in great shape.
Well, does that exist? Do you have that ecosystem? Do you have that measurement? I mean, it seems like
Well,
yeah,
you know, it's funny for folks that have more of a traditional TV background. There's concern that digital viewing may be disrupting the existing model, but I see the DVR as a bigger threat to the existing model than digital. For the most part today, you cannot skip the advertising when you're viewing on a digital device. And so that allows us to actually recapture some of that inventory that we're losing from time shifting. So you know, we're partnering with Nielsen, we're partnering with ComScore and others to ensure that as viewers move to digital platforms and as that viewership fragments over time, we'll be able to serve dynamic ads, get them measured, and satisfy the needs of our partners.
So do you expect, because the economics of that though today are nowhere near as good as they are in linear television, whether it's less ad load, right? Like the total dollars in are just not the same yet. Do you?
I disagree with that statement.
Okay.
Yeah. So.
Does that make me wrong?
So we'll let
Everybody calm down.
So there's a lot of hype in the trades about the volume of viewing that's happening on new platforms, right?
Yeah.
And then people look at the dollars and they say, well, the dollars that are going to the new platforms are modest, but the viewership is massive. And I think we need to reframe that story. When you look on an apples-to-apples basis of the number of minutes that Americans are spending watching on newer platforms, it's still quite modest. And so what seems like modest revenue is actually on a per-minute basis very strong. So why is it strong? It's strong because you cannot skip the advertising. It's strong because we're bringing in new models with better targeting. It's strong because we're not only monetizing adults 25 to 54, 18 to 49. If a valuable 59-year-old walks in the door and watches us on a digital platform, we're going to find an advertiser that is willing to pay to reach that valuable 59-year-old. So net, I think there's great opportunity in the digital ecosystem for the sellers and the buyers of digital video.